Today in Agronomy on KFIL AM 1060 with Pioneer Field Agronomist Allie Wise and Josh Schaffner. Here's Josh and Allie.
Good morning, Southeast Minnesota. It's December 16th, 2020, and this is episode 52. Well, Allie, we're down to just 2 episodes to go of 2020, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to spend a little time and put together kind of our top 10 lists. This episode, we'll talk about our top 10 list of 2020. So kind of at the end of the year, looking at, whether it be the top 10 songs of the year, whatever else, we'll just rate this as our top 10 agronomic topics for Southeast Minnesota of the year. And then next week, if you join, we'll actually talk about looking forward, our top 10 for next year. So kind of a fun couple episodes here. And Allie, I think we'll just get things off. I might just throw it to you, and we'll start with your number 10, and then we'll just alternate till we get to number 1.
Yeah, so I would just like to start by telling everyone these are not in rank order. These are randomized order as they came to mind. So my number 1 was tar spot for 2020. I think it's just becoming more and more evident in our counties across Southeast Minnesota. And I think it's critical, being as it's a newer disease, that we understand how to manage and, prevent this very yield limiting pathogen as it comes into play across Southeast Minnesota. And we've summarized a lot of these considerations in our agronomy summary book, but certainly going to be a part of the conversation for this year and as we move forward. What's your number 1?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go backwards. I'm going to count down. I did rank mine, so I'm going to start at number 10. And my number 10 was actually flying high with my UAV. 2020 was a unique year, and I think COVID and the pandemic changed the way we did things. And we have pretty awesome UAV technology at Pioneer, and spent a lot of time working with growers and produced some really good stuff via the UAV, which was kind of a fun summer flying all year.
Yeah, that was a good one. I missed UAV on mine, so I like that one. Yeah. All right, so my number 2 was corn and soybean fungicide applications. And just in terms of using them to maximize yield, I think we're starting to think a little bit differently of fungicide applications, especially in corn. So not just for that disease control and prevention. I think it's important. It's just becoming a piece of the puzzle and a strategic program to push yield limits of corn and soybeans.
Awesome. Cool. And I'm going to go number 9. And my number 9 was the weather. I kind of just think we were overdue for maybe a little less dramatic growing season. And I think planting season and harvest was a big thing. And I just think that was probably one of the bigger stories of the year, just made our life a lot easier. And I think for our growers too. And I think that'll maybe come up next week when we will look ahead for 2021 as well.
Agreed. It was very welcomed. So my number 3 is management. That's pretty broad one, but I just think we saw a wide distribution of yield outcomes in 2020, just between highly productive soils and rotated fields and how we managed those and the season stresses, and then maybe some less productive, more drought-prone soils, handling that a little differently, and then corn on corn acres in particular just maybe fell short of expectations as they proved more susceptible to maybe the combination of some of the yield limiting stresses that we had to work through in 2020.
Yeah, my number 8 to actually go way back to the start of 2020. It was actually our Agronomy Revolution Tour, Allie. A lot of growers maybe came out and saw us, but we had some really good meetings there. And I think we did that in February. Correct me if I was wrong. We made the rounds there for about a week across Southeast Minnesota with a lot of good content. As we look ahead, we may not have that here in 2021. I think we'll have some virtual options, but it's always a great way to get some great information out there. And also for us, a really fun time to interact with producers all across Southeast Minnesota, kind of ones that we work with, and maybe some ones we also got to speak outside of our jurisdiction, which is always a lot of fun, and be looking for stuff like that in 2021 when the time comes.
Yep, absolutely. Mine, just a hot topic that I felt like I had a lot of conversations about mid-season was just sulfur with in-season nitrogens. Just focusing on that 30 pounds or 6 to 7 to 1 ratio. Like I said, I just thought it was a really hot topic that I worked through with a lot of folks, and I think we're doing a lot better job of making that a piece of the puzzle as well.
Yeah. All right. And then my number 7 was soybeans, and they were just kind of exciting again, if that's the right term. We had really great yields across the area. I think the weather played a big role in that. We were planted early. We had some things go our way, not a big disease year. The markets in some cases maybe didn't play in your favor if you sold so early, but hopefully maybe the yield bumps, we had some extra that we could utilize there. But I thought they were kind of an exciting crop, and moving forward, maybe seeing a few more soybean acres for next year. But kind of just a refocus on that crop and a crop that we're starting to move the bar yield wise, and hopefully that can continue, and maybe we can find a repeat next year if things go in a similar fashion.
Amazing. We're starting to care about soybeans just as much as corn.
I agree. It's kind of exciting.
Okay, so I feel like I'm kind of picking a favorite child here, and I don't know if this is cheating, but my number 5 is actually the P0220 hybrid family. It's a new corn for us, and I just really felt like just a rock star out of the ground and kind of just raced all year long. And I just think it's a really consistent new product that we have available. And I just thought it was worth making it on my top 10 list.
Very cool. That is a great new hybrid. One of my favorites, especially for corn on corn. My number 6, this will be our last one before we go on a break here. It was actually nitrogen in corn. I think nitrogen was a very big topic of 2020. I think we saw maybe more nitrogen deficiency this year than we have in many years. Many factors went into that, from weather to timing to our lack of fall tillage and other things in between. And really, I think it really showed up on corn. I think that was probably where it showed up the most, and that may show up on my list again here. But nitrate management and strategy was something that really paid dividends. If you had the right end program, it really put a lot of bushels in the tank. If some things went wrong, it really penalized us on the backside as well. So Allie, I think a good start to the show. Just a full disclosure too, you and I did not compare our lists before the show. So this is the first time we're hearing it. And when we come on a break, I'll get into my top 5 and you'll get through your 6 through 10, and we'll see where it all ends up.
Welcome back, listeners. So Josh, in segment 1, you made it through your 10 through 5, or no, 10 through 6.
10 through 6.
Oh yeah, geez, I can't count today. Made it through my 1 through 5. So we're going to continue on our top 10 list for 2020. I'm going to go ahead and start. So my number 6 on the list was the late August rain. So that last week of August, I just thought that those worked wonders in terms of weight and grain on both the soybean and corn side of things. And you talked about soybean yields in general. I think that was a big piece of the puzzle and just was really welcomed. And I think it saved us from losing a lot more bushels than we maybe already did from some of those moisture stress.
You bet. Okay. And my number 5 maybe goes a little bit with my number 6, but it was corn on corn struggles and triumph. Corn on corn this year was a very interesting rotation in Southeast Minnesota. There was challenges with it. And when kind of the combines rolled, we saw some really good yields on corn. For example, in our PKP set, our corn on corn locations, actually broke the old overall record, which is pretty crazy. We did break a record. So we saw some really, really strong yields corn on corn. On the flip side, we also saw some really challenging yields corn on corn. A lot of things went into that. If you look back to the fall of 19, the lack of tillage, you look at some of the struggles of the lack of rain in early August. We got some late August rain, but maybe didn't get the mineralization we needed. A lot of tie up and the residue from the lack of tillage in 19 and some other things in between. But I think that was just something that was really jumped out at me, was how good it was in cases and how poor it was in others. And looking forward, that'll be something we'll want to try to get a better handle on as we roll into 2021.
Yeah, and I think if we were to maybe pick arguably the most popular topic, that might have been it. So my number 8 was just the proven value of chrome. I thought chrome just really proved itself this year across a wide variety of acres. And I just think, that value of the fact that chrome really opens up the possibilities of top-notch triple options for folks' acres, and pair that with the corn rootworm protection. And I just thought it really did a nice job of proving its value. And you look at maybe in one certain year, folks can have that bell ringer corn. I just felt like, we had a lot of products that just did really solid across a wide range of environments. And I think it's just exciting for folks to have a wide range of options available from Pioneer.
Okay. So I have to rewind and double check. Was that number 7 or number 8?
Number 7.
Number 7. Okay. I think we might've said 8, but I thought I might've skipped one, but we're all good. So on to number 4 for me. My number 4 was corn rootworm. And I think corn rootworm was something in Southeast Minnesota we saw a lot of this year. In some cases, it led to the challenges that we saw on corn. Populations are on an increase. Definitely a big story of 2020 and will likely be a big story of 2021 as well. But a serious pest that we got to take serious year in, year out. And I think that was a big story of production across Southeast Minnesota this year.
Yep, I think so too. And we'll wait and see what this winter weather maybe brings to us and how that rolls into 2021. Okay, we're actually at number 8 now for me. So my number 8 was just different spectrum of leaf disease across the area. I thought leaf disease was present this year across the area, though much lower than maybe we've experienced in years past. I thought, it was a little different than usual. Like I mentioned, gray leaf spot was becoming a little bit more prevalent than northern corn leaf blight, which is, opposite of what we've maybe observed in the past. We made it through those fungicide applications, and then with the dry conditions that appeared to hold most leaf diseases in check as we move towards September. So just a different spectrum, and I thought it was worth mentioning.
Yeah. And on to number 3 for me, and my number 3 was the Enlist weed control system. First year we've had Enlist out there at kind of commercial volumes, And I think overall, what a great weed control system. A lot of things still going on behind the scenes as we continue to get new varieties to market. That's going to really change as we look forward. But yeah, from a standpoint of, user friendly, staying on target, not having the volatilization of other things and the tank mixing things, so many great things there. I thought that was a big story and really fun to see growers have a chance to utilize it and also get feedback of how it performed on their operations and a lot of positive where it was utilized.
Yep, absolutely. So my number 9 was just the harvestable moistures, or maybe just harvest in general. I think, a lot of folks experienced harvestable moistures much lower than maybe they experienced all of 2019. And also just made for a quick harvest pace, which rolled into being able to get a lot of work done this fall that we haven't in the past. So maybe I should just change that one to just, nice fall into winter weather in general.
Yes, I agree. My number 2, a little bit more of a personal side of it here, Allie, for us, but corn PKP plots, we had all of them planted in April. Never seen that before. Don't know if we ever will. Also, our growers felt that too. A lot of guys got the crop in extremely early this year. But I thought that was just a big story of just how quick this crop went in the ground, the corn and the beans. But yeah, just looking back, I don't know if we'll ever get to do that again. I think you and I put 27 plots in and we were done in the month of April. So we made good time. And I thought that was a big story and also led to some of the crop successes we saw in corn and soybeans this year.
Yep. Okay, so my top 10, number 10 was planting date. The corn and soybean crop in Southeast Minnesota just got off to a really extremely fast start in 2020. A majority of that corn crop was planted in April, like you talked about, with our PKPs, with soybeans being not far behind. I think we just had those excellent conditions and above average stands across the area. And I think that really helped to carry us through the successful season that we had.
All right. And to close it out, my number 1 was your number 7. It was Chrome. Obviously, Chrome lived up to our expectations, moved the bar for corn on corn production acres across Southeast Minnesota, and will be here for years to come. That's a wrap for this week. Be sure to tune in next week, and we'll talk about the top 10 for 2021.
You've been listening to Today in Agronomy on KFIL AM 1060. If you've missed part of the show or want to hear more, check out the show page at kfilradio.com or with the 103.1 KFIL app. Stay connected with Allie and Josh on Twitter. It's at AllieGYs, WISE, and at Josh Schaffner to submit your questions for the show. Tune in next Wednesday for the next Today in Agronomy on KFIL AM 1060. We'll see you at 11 a.m.